Jayson Tatum keeps getting overlooked in the MVP race, but over the last 3 games, he's been playing at that exact level, carrying the Celtics to big wins while averaging 35 points, 8.3 rebounds, and 8.3 assists on 48% shooting. But what's even scarier, Boston has a late game strategy that completely flips the script, and if the NBA doesn't catch on soon, they're going to go back to back. Let's break it down. Starting with Jayson Tatum's recent 3-game explosion. This only further proves that he's having the best season of his career, as he's taken his all-round game to a new level, combining his elite scoring, rebounding, playmaking, and defense in a way that makes him one of the toughest players to match up against. What stands out even more is his ability to step up when the Celtics are short-handed. With key players like Jaylen Brown, Drew Holiday, and Kristaps Porzingis missing time, Tatum hadn't just kept the team afloat, he continued to dominate. Some may point to Boston's inconsistent play since mid-December, where they've dropped unexpected games to teams like the Raptors, Hawks, and Bulls, but personally, I'm not worried at all. As reigning champions, the Celtics are getting every opponent's best shot, and frankly, they seem to be bored with the regular season. They know their real test comes in the playoffs, and based on what we've seen from Tatum recently, they are going to be more than ready when the time comes. One of the biggest improvements to Jayson Tatum's game this season has been the jump shot. It looks so much smoother as he's getting to his spots with ease, knocking down shots more comfortably than ever. This is a huge shift from last year's postseason, where he struggled with efficiency, shooting just 42% from the field. A big reason for that was his jump shot. It looked slower and more rigid, making it harder to create clean looks, especially against packed defenses. But while his scoring dipped, what often goes unnoticed is how impactful JT was as a playmaker. In the NBA Finals against the Mavericks, Dallas constantly loaded up on him, sending 2 to 3 defenders his way whenever he drove. Instead of forcing up tough shots, he repeatedly made the right reads, finding his teammates open, keeping the Celtics offense flowing. Even though his assist numbers didn't always reflect it, Tatum was always at the center of Boston's ball movement. Many of his passes led to what we call hockey assists, where his pass sets up another pass that creates the open shot. In fact, on the season, Jayson Tatum ranks 6th for on-ball gravity, meaning the amount of attention he demands with the ball, which only goes to show you just how impactful Tatum is as the Celtics' offensive hub. This kind of unselfish high IQ basketball is what makes the Celtics so dangerous. Tatum doesn't just score, as he makes the right plays time and time again, keeping defenses scrambling. I mentioned this in my Anthony Edwards video, that the Timberwolves have really struggled in the clutch this season, and the Ant-Man is a huge reason why, because he always wants to be the guy to take that final shot. However, Jayson Tatum is perfectly okay with passing the ball, as you never quite know who's going to take the last shot for the Celtics, which is why it is so hard to defend them. That's precisely why guarding Jayson Tatum is certainly not an easy task, because he's an incredibly willing passer, and if you opt to not send help at all, he's just going to burn you with his scoring ability, and that's exactly what he's been doing over these last 3 games. In the first game, he had a statement performance against one of their Eastern Conference contenders, putting up 40 points and 6 rebounds, along with 7 3-point makes, as the Celtics stormed to a dominant 131-104 beatdown of the New York Knicks. To open the game, JT made a statement, driving right to the basket and posterizing Precious Achiuwa on the first play of the game, setting the tone for a dominant night ahead. The Celtics decided to attack Karl Anthony Towns in pick and rolls, as here Tatum knocks down the pull-up triple. Here they do it again, as Cornet first screens Bridges to then set a second screen on Cat, allowing Tatum the easy finish. The Knicks really had no answer for Jayson Tatum early in this game, as this time he pulls up for 3 on the K of New York and knocks it down. Bridges was trying to work under this screen, desperately not trying to give up that driving lane, where JT can be really dangerous. But going under is almost just as dangerous, especially when he's feeling it. Now off that screen again, he snaps Achiuwa's ankles this time round and cashes in another one from deep. putting a second highlight on Precious. This high screen and roll action was absolutely unstoppable, creating open threes early, so this time the Knicks adjust as Cat tries to step up, but he's burnt on back-to-back looks, giving up 2 wide open dunks because the Knicks were worried about Tatum shooting another 3. So with Tatum burning the Knicks with whatever they do, they decided to load up on him, and JT makes the feed for the open white in the dunker for 2. Then to cap off a dominant 19-3 Celtics run in a 5-minute stretch, JT takes and makes this ridiculous shot over Mikal Bridges. From this point onwards, Jayson Tatum had found his offensive rhythm, knocking down absolutely every shot in sight, from tough midi fall-away jumpers to deep triples. You name it, he was making it, as the Celtics stormed to victory. Then in the second game against an East rival in the new-look Miami Heat, Jayson Tatum got right back to work, putting up 33 points, 8 rebounds and 2 assists in a 103-85 win. But this time he did start the game slow, but once he started, there was simply nothing Miami could do to slow him down. As first, he steps up and makes this deep triple over Andrew Wiggins, then moments later, he decides to post him up and finishes. Now on the drive, he's able to battle through the contact to score with the finger roll, then moments later, he's able to get an easy look out on the break and he finds that rhythm. The Celtics again get into that high screen and roll action, which first opens up the pull-up triple for Tatum, so on the next play, the Heat make an adjustment as Ware comes up to meet JT at the line, but you just can't do that, as Tatum attacks him off the bounce and hits the mid-range jumper. From this point forward, JT was done messing around from deep, as he instead opted to assert his will on the game, and did he ever. Tatum attacked the Heat defense every time down, and really put this game away on his own back, finishing tough play after tough play to send the Heat packing, truly entering MVP mode. Then on the third game against a young San Antonio Spurs team with a very fragile confidence, Tatum made an effort to crush their hopes early on. He started the game in an uber-aggressive state, attacking Victor Wembanyama in the pick-and-roll action, knocking down his jumpers to quickly open a large lead, which never shrunk. These performances cement Tatum as the Celtics' best player and prove that the Celtics are still the team to beat out in the Eastern Conference, despite how good Cleveland's record looks. But even if you're good enough to stay with the Celtics and make it a close game, the Celtics have another trick up their sleeves, which if the NBA doesn't figure out soon, they're going to be in serious trouble. Boston will often go entire games without using their most dangerous actions, Jayson Tatum and Derek White ball screens, only to unleash them when it matters the most. And because opponents aren't seeing it throughout the game, it often catches them so off guard that if a team isn't locked in, the Celtics can close games in an instant with this late game weapon. Here in a tight game versus Philadelphia, they spring the trap, as White sets an inverted screen and roll for Tatum, who comes off of it looking like he's going to attack downhill, only to kick it right back out to D. White, who's open for 3. Now Tatum sets the screen for White, allowing him to get the switch on Maxey, getting himself inside position, which he then leverages to force a double team, finding White for another open 3, which he knocks down again. Here Derek White gives the ball up to JT, but he just keeps moving, using a cornet screen to get a very good look, which he knocks down. It seems whenever big plays need to be made, it's usually Jayson Tatum or Jaylen Brown sprinkled in with a bit of Derek White or Peyton Pritchard. And these plays are just so effective because they can do an inverted screen and roll or normal screen and rolls, and there's just so many actions out of this play. These actions are really knockout blows for an opposing defense who never suspects that they're coming, and even if they do, that really doesn't matter, because if you stay with Derek White, you're just letting Tatum go to work on a mismatch, as you're giving up a great look basically no matter what. When assessing the Eastern Conference, the picture is becoming clearer. At the top, it's a close race between Boston and Cleveland, with the Knicks not far behind as a competitive third best team. The Bucks are still in the mix, but at this point, they don't inspire much confidence. However, if we shift the focus from just pure talent alone to which team is truly built to win, there's really only one answer to the question. It's the Boston Celtics. Bearing major injuries or a complete meltdown, there's almost no scenario where the Celtics aren't back in the Eastern Conference Finals, and now that they've won a championship, they not only have the talent, but also the experience, poise, and understanding of what it takes to finish the job. The moment is not going to be too big for them now, and that's a dangerous combination. A key factor in Boston's dominance is the evolution of Jayson Tatum, as this season he looks more composed, more confident, and fully aware of what's required of him in the big moments. He's always been an elite player, but in years past there's been times where he struggled to rise to the occasion. But that really hasn't been the case this season. He's already knocked down 2 game winners, one at the buzzer against Toronto, and another in a tough road scenario against the Pelicans. These big moments show a different level of decisiveness from Tatum, and if he carries that into the postseason, along with that playmaking ability and defense I mentioned earlier, the Celtics will be nearly impossible to take down in a close game. But it's important to remember that even if you are the title favorites, it doesn't mean you're not unbeatable. And that's the story of the Golden State Warriors after trading for Jimmy Butler. And there's now one thing he brings to the team that's going to take them to a completely new level. And the whole league knows it, but no one has any clue on how to stop it. Click here to watch this breakdown now.